Welcome to the video review of Mushroom Wars. As you can see, the game is colourful and cute with an emphasis on simplicity, both in art style and in control mechanisms. There is a bit of depth to be found though, so we'll avoid the fact that it looks like Create Games had been playing far too much of PixelJunk's monsters when drawing out concept work, and we'll navigate through the extremely simple menus and look at the campaign mode. Firstly, you are presented with a map which shows the war zone. The aim is to convert this whole map to your own colour. As you complete one level, you will open up others, which will get gradually more difficult, introducing more enemies and different mechanics to the gameplay. The first couple of levels will be tutorials to help introduce you to the control systems, but basically it works like this. You control the bases rather than the troops. See the bases that all look like little mushrooms? I assume that's where the game gets its name from. Unless it was inspired by a very poorly publicised conflict in the fresh veg aisle at Sainsbury's. You issue orders to your troops to leave one base and go to another, either to reinforce it if it is already controlled by you, or to attack it if it is an enemy or neutral base. You do this by holding a shoulder button and pressing one of the face buttons, which will send a quarter, half, 3/4, or all of the available troops, depending on which face button you hit. If you have enough troops stationed in a base, then holding another shoulder button and hitting X will upgrade that location. Upgraded bases produce troops quicker, so they are essential to gaining an upper hand on the battlefield. There are other types of base like the Forge, which will increase your overall attack and defend capabilities, and the Towers, which shoot at enemies within their range and can be upgraded to shoot quicker, meaning more defense for you and more death for your opponent. Lovely. You also have the chance to convert your bases from one type to another, so that you can make troop building villages into defensive towers, so that you can deal even more death and destruction on your hapless opponents. There are a couple of different objectives for the different maps in the campaign mode, but essentially these boil down to capture everything or just capture the special base. Which is no bad thing. I don't know why everything has to be so damn complicated these days anyway. With the game set to easy, it really is very easy, which is just how I like it. On higher difficulty settings though, it should provide enough of a challenge to keep seasoned strategists entertained for a while. There is a lot of stat tracking going on, with the game keeping track of how you play each level and awarding you rewards at the end based on your style of play. It also tracks a lot of stats such as how many waves you've sent against the enemy, how many hostiles you've killed attacking or defending, and how long it takes you to take each action. So the campaign mode is fun and provides plenty to help scratch that basic strategy itch you might have. Everything is presented in a cute and quirky way which really is reminiscent of PixelJunk's Monsters series or Fat Princess. So it might not win points for originality, but it does fit well with the style of gameplay and the very dip in and out nature of the game. It also sports one of the most basic control systems you could ever hope for in a game of this nature, which means that the game should be accessible to everyone with 2 fingers, 2 thumbs, and a modest collection of brain cells. The multiplayer options are not exactly extensive in Mushroom Wars, but they are perfectly adequate for those of us who remember the days when the internet was for sending email and laughing at poorly animated, garishly coloured GIFs. What I mean by that is that the multiplayer is local only. There is a skirmish mode that will allow you to replicate the local multiplayer by adding AI opponents when you haven't got any friends in the room, but there is also a special pleasure in beating your mates when they are close enough to see the smug, satisfied look on your face. So the omission of online multiplayer isn't really a deal breaker. The 3 modes in multiplayer are brought over from the campaign mode and include King of the Hill, Conquest and Domination modes, with the aims being to hold ground, gain ground, or control the whole field of battle. Mushroom Wars is fun and has a surprising amount of depth to the initially very simplistic strategy. Deft use of upgrades and timing your runs on opposition bases are essential to success, with the elementary control scheme giving the game an extra layer of intuitive accessibility. There could perhaps be a little bit more content, but with the skirmish maps and the local multiplayer, there are compelling reasons to keep coming back to this title. Time for some pros and cons. First up, the pros. It has hidden depth in the strategy. The learning curve is nice and smooth with well balanced difficulty levels to make things more tricky when you need that bit of a challenge. It feels like the sort of game you could be dipping in and out of for many months, with the skirmish mode adding a lot of replay value. And now for the cons. There could be a little more content with a few more maps and possibly another game mode or two for the multiplayer. The art style is nice but unimaginative, and unfortunately similar to other recent titles. No online multiplayer means that the friendless will be stuck with AI skirmishes. On the whole, Mushroom Wars is a very fun game with little to criticise. The look of it may be similar to other recent PSN titles, but it fits with the gameplay perfectly, and it is the gameplay that makes Mushroom Wars stand out. There is a subtle but impressive amount of strategy at certain points, and plenty of opportunity to replay this compelling little game. It gets an 8 out of 10 from me. Thank you for watching this video review for TheSixthAxis.com. I really should get me a theme tune.